Hello everyone, welcome back. I am Ghosh, and today's video is specifically for all the couples and families who are planning a wedding in 2026 because there is something very urgent and very time sensitive that I need you to know right now. If you are planning a Hindu wedding, a Vivah Sanskar for 2026, then the window of time you have available is extremely narrow, and I mean that literally. The auspicious dates for Hindu marriage ceremonies in the second half of 2026 are essentially gone until late November. And the reason for this is a combination of factors that I'm going to explain completely in this video. Now, I want to cover three things today. Firstly, I will explain exactly why July 1 and July 12 is the most critical and most urgent wedding period of the year. Secondly, I will teach you how to actually understand the Panchang and what makes the Muhurat auspicious in the first place. And thirdly, I will tell you about Chaturmas. What is it, why weddings are not performed during it, and what the full timeline looks like for marriage ceremonies of the rest of 2026. Right? So, this is genuinely important information. I want you to have all of it clearly and completely. Right? So, let's begin. Now, let me start with the most time sensitive information first. In the entire remaining second half of 2026, there are only 5 viable, uh, genuinely auspicious dates for a Hindu marriage ceremony, and all 5 of them fall between July 1 to July 12. After July 12, a combination of cosmic circumstances shuts the door on auspicious wedding ceremonies all the way until late November 2026. So if you're currently planning a wedding for this year, those 5 dates in July are your final window. And families who miss the window will face a mandatory waiting period of approximately 4 to 5 months before the next proper wedding season opens. Now, let me give you 5 dates clearly. The first date is July 1, 2026, which is a Wednesday. The auspicious timing runs from 6:51 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. The nakshatra active during this time is Uttar Ashadha, all right, which is one of the most powerful and most auspicious stars for initiating long-lasting endeavors. All right. The second date is July 6 to July 7, 2026. This crosses midnight, which is common in the Vedic calendar, where an auspicious window that begins at night on one date carries into the early morning hours of the next date. The active timing begins in 1:41 a.m. on the night of July 6 going into July 7 and continues till 5:47 a.m. in July 7. The nakshatra is over here is Uttar Bhadrapada. All right. The third date continues from July 7, 2026, which is a Tuesday. The timing runs from 5:47 a.m. until 2:31 in the afternoon. The nakshatra active here continues to be Uttar Bhadrapada. The fourth date is July 11 to July 12, 2026, again crossing midnight. The auspicious window begins at 12:05 a.m. on the night of July 11 going into July 12 and continues until 5:49 a.m. on July 12. The nakshatra active here is beautifully Rohini nakshatra, which is ruled by moon. Alright, and the fifth and final date is July 12, 2026, which is a Sunday. This is an absolute date of this entire window. The timing runs from 5:49 a.m. until 10:29 p.m. The nakshatra active here during this date is Rohini transiting into Mrigashira. Alright, not transiting, I mean transitioning. Alright, I mean from Rohini to Mrigashira nakshatra. Transiting means something else. Alright, I'm sorry about that. Alright, so July 12 is what July 12 is what I want you to think of as a age of safety. After this date, the door begins to close. Now let me explain exactly why July 13 onwards is not appropriate for wedding ceremonies. even though it is before Chaturmas technically begins. So from July 14, Jupiter enters what we call Ashtangata or combustion. Jupiter is the most important planet when it's come to marriage. It is called the guru of wedding ceremony. And when Jupiter is combust, meaning it gets too much close to sun and sun's brightness, essentially overpowers and extinguishes Jupiter's prana, its vital energy. Even though Jupiter remains exalted in Cancer during this period, the combustion means its actual functional power for blessing a new union is significantly compromised. Think of it like having the wisest, most knowledgeable advisor in the world sitting at your wedding ceremony, but he has completely blindfolded. The wisdom is there, but it cannot see what is happening in front of it, and therefore cannot properly bless what is taking place. All right. The combustion period runs from July 14 until August 13. So it creates what I call a dead zone for wedding ceremonies from July 13 through late August. And then Chaturmas begins on July 25, which I will explain in full detail in a moment. And Chaturmas itself closes all marriage ceremonies until November 20. So putting all together, the realistic last window for 2026 wedding is July 12 before 10:29 p.m. So this is not just astrology for families with large ceremonies to plan. This creates a very real and very urgent logistical situation. Venues, caterers, priests, photographers, and all the other vendors needed for a wedding ceremony are going to be extremely high demand during these 12 days. The scarcity of available resources during this window is genuinely real, and families who have not already secured their vendors need to do so immediately. Alright, now let me take a step back and explain the foundation of all this. Alright, what actually makes a Muhurat, an auspicious time window, genuinely a very special one? Why does the timing of a window matter so much in Vedic tradition? So, in a Hindu tradition, a Muhurat is not simply about picking a good looking day on a calendar. It is what I would describe as a spiritual sadhana, a disciplined practice of aligning your most important human endeavors with the you know, overarching orders of the cosmos, which is in Sanskrit we call dharma. So when you choose the right muhurat for wedding, you are essentially ensuring that the very beginning of the lifelong journey is synchronized with a cosmic environment that supports the four goals of human life. These four goals are called the purusharthas. All right, they are dharma, which means righteous living and purpose; artha, which means prosperity and material well-being; kama, which means love, desire, and fullness of emotional life; and moksha, which means the spiritual liberation and freedom. So dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, these are the purusharthas. All right, the tool that determines whether a specific moment is aligned with all four of these goals is called panchang. So the panchang is a Hindu almanac, and it is built on five specific elements. The word panchang itself literally means five limbs because it has five components. Now let me explain you each one of them. Firstly, it's called tithi, the first element, which is tithi. So this is the lunar day. In Vedic calendar, a day is not measured by a simple clock. The tithi is calculated by the measuring the angular distance between the moon and the sun. Specifically, every 12 degrees of angular separation between the moon and the sun creates one tithi. Alright, there are 30 tithis in a complete lunar cycle. The reason is matter the reason this matters so much for marriage is that the relationship between the moon and sun governs what is called jala tattva, the water element, which is directly represent the human state of mind. State of human mind, wrong English. All right, so correctly chosen tithi ensures that the emotional foundation of the union begins on cooperative, harmonious lunar flow rather than on tidal agitation and conflict. All right, okay, second element we call var. Now this simply means day or week. Each day of week is governed by a specific planet, and those planetary energies directly color the nature of whatever is initiated on that day, right? So the third element is called nakshatra. This is the lunar mansion, the star that the moon is transiting through on this given day. The nakshatra active during a wedding ceremony imprints its specific energy directly onto the foundation of the marriage. This is why the nakshatras I mentioned for July dates matter so deeply, right? Now let me expand on two of the most significant ones active in this window. um okay, first is Rohini nakshatra. See, which is like Rohini nakshatra, which is active on July 11 to July 12. um okay, so yeah, so Rohini nakshatra, which is active on July 11 and July 12, is considered one of the most single auspicious nakshatras possible for a wedding ceremony. Rohini is ruled by the moon and symbolized by a cart or a chariot, representing abundance and forward movement. The deity associated with Rohini is Brahma, the creator, and the core energy of this nakshatra is growth, fertility, nourishment, and prosperity. When a couple marries under Rohini nakshatra, their husband is blessed with a cosmic signature of genuine growth. The family takes root and grows abundantly. It is also associated with physical beauty, material comfort, and the kind of domestic warmth that sustains a family through generations. All right. Next, we have Mrigashira Nakshatra, which becomes active later on July 12, which is ruled by Mars and symbolizes by a deer's head. The deity here is Soma, the moon god. The energy of Mrigashira is gentle, searching, and deeply adaptive. When a couple marries under this nakshatra, they are given the quality of searching for each other with gentleness and care throughout the marriage, adapting together through adapting together through the changes that life brings, and pursuing their mutual goals with the spirit of cooperation rather than competition. So Mrigashira adds a quality of tenderness and curiosity to the union. Alright. Next is Uttarashada and Uttarbhadrapada. Now, which are active on July 1 to July 6 to 7 respectively, are both considered auspicious nakshatras for marriage ceremonies as well, with strong qualities and endurance, righteousness, and long-term stability woven to the union. Right. The fourth element of the Panchang is called yoga. Now, in this context, yoga does not mean that physical practice of yoga. It is an astrological calculation that combines the longitudes of the sun and the moon to create 27 specific combinations, each with its own quality. Some yogas are extremely auspicious for new beginnings, others are neutral, and some of them are considered inauspicious for important ceremonies. Right. So, fifth element is called Karana. A karana is half of a tithi. So there are two karanas within the each lunar day. Karanas also carry specific energies, and specific karana are considered more supportive than other for marriage ceremonies. When all five of these elements are checked and found to be in a harmonious and supportive condition at the same time, the specific window becomes what we call a Shubh Muhurat, an auspicious moment. And the greatest muhurats are those rare windows where all the five elements are aligned positively at the same time, that the most important planets, particularly like Jupiter and Venus, are also strong and well placed. All right. In July 2026, the additional gift of Jupiter being exalted in Cancer even before its combustion begins means that these July dates carry a cosmic signature of the great benefic at near peak strength. This is genuinely rare for genuinely powerful, right? And now, even within these five auspicious dates, there are daily pockets of time that should be avoided for the actual ceremony itself. I want to explain this clearly because this is something many families overlook, right? The first is called Rahukal. Every single day has a specific window of approximately 90 minutes that is associated with Rahu, the north node of the moon. Rahu represents confusion, instability, and shadow. Ceremonies and rituals initiated during Rahu Kal have a tendency to not take root properly. The auspicious energy does not hold as firmly. Each day's Rahu Kal falls at a different time. So please consult a specific panchang for exact Rahu Kal timing for each of the date I have mentioned. Second is Yamagandam. This is a daily inauspicious pocket. This one associated with loss and unreliability, like Rahu Kal, but it moves to a different time slot each day and should be avoided for important ceremonies. The third is Bhadrakal. This is particularly important for wedding ceremonies specifically. Bhadra is associated with marital discord and conflict. It is strictly and absolutely avoided for Vivah ceremonies and Vedic tradition. If the ceremony is scheduled during a Bhadra period, it is considered to create create the seeds of future conflicts within the marriage itself. So please have your family pandit check the Bhadra timing for whichever date you choose. And the fourth consideration is what happens when Jupiter combustion begins to approach. July 12 is the last date I have given you, and I want to repeat this clearly. Even though July 13 and July 14 fall before the technical start of Chaturmas, the proximity to Jupiter's combustion on July 14 makes those days genuinely risky for wedding ceremonies. The wise choice is to treat July 12 as the absolute final date and plan accordingly. Alright. Okay, now let me explain Chaturmas completely because this is the foundational reason why the entire August through November period is closed for Hindu weddings. So, Chaturmas is a Sanskrit word that simply means 4 months. Alright, and it refers to a specific 4 months period in a Hindu calendar that is considered a time of what I called a divine sleep or yoga nidra. This is a period of spiritual recalibration. The energy of the universe turns inward during this 4 month and all outward social celebration. Particularly new beginnings like marriages are suspended in deference to this inward spiritual turning. In 2026, Chaturmas begins on July 25. This specific date is called Devshayani Ekadashi. So Devshayani means the divine sleep begins. Ekadashi means the 11th day of the lunar fortnight. On this day, Lord Vishnu, the preserver of the universe, is said to enter a state of deep cosmic slumber for 4 months. Chaturmas ends on November 20, 2026. This date is called Devuttana Ekadashi. So the Devuttana means divine awakening. This is the lunar day Lord Vishnu awakens from his slumber, and from this point forward, the full energy of auspicious new beginning is restored. The 4 lunar month is covered by Chaturmas in 2026 are Sawan, Bhadrapada, Ashwini, and Kartik. So, uh, now let me explain the actual reason behind the marriage ban during this period, because there is both mythological explanation and genuinely a practical one. So the mythological reason is this, that in this Vedic understanding, a Vivah Sanskar, a wedding ceremony, is not simply a social event between two families. It is a sacred union that requires the active witnessing of the divine. The ceremony invokes divine blessings and divine witnessing as part of its very structure. So when Lord Vishnu, the preserver, is in a state of cosmic slumber, the divine witnessing required for this sacred sacrament is essentially unavailable. The blessings that give the marriage's foundation of grace are veiled. This is why Vivah Sanskars are not performed during Chaturmas. The practical reason is equally compelling. Chaturmas coincides with the Dakshinayan period, which is when the sun is on its southern course and the nights become longer. This lengthening of the night increases what Ayurveda calls, melatonin production on the body, which shift the human nervous system more towards the sympathetic mode, which is the fight or flight mode. All right. So the biological shift tends to create what I would describe as a negative or unstable state of mind. The with decreased, serotonin levels and the general tendency towards emotional heaviness. And this is genuinely not the ideal emotional foundation for the beginning of a lifelong partnership. Okay. Additionally, Chaturmas in India coincides with the monsoon season, and historically, the monsoon created real practical problems for large community gatherings. Food contamination, insects infestation, flooding of roads, all of this made large scale community feast and multi day ceremony logistically dangerous. The community feast is an essentially part of Vivah Sanskar, and without a safe and clean community gathering being possible, the ceremony cannot be properly conducted. All right. So the combination of the divine witnessing being unavailable, the human emotional environment being unstable, and the practical logistical challenges of the monsoon all came together to create this 4 month pause in wedding ceremonies. So during Chaturmas, Hindu families focus instead of personal spiritual practices, vratas, which are sacred vows of simplicity and austerity, fasting practices, reading of scriptures, devotional singing. It is a time for spiritual rebuilding and deepening of individual and family faith. All right. Now let me add something very important that is specific to individual couples planning for the July window. Now, even though the dates I have given you are astronomically auspicious based on the general panchang, the specific compatibility of these dates with each individual couple's personal birth chart must also be checked. This is called Kundali Milan or chart matching. All right. Now, what I mean is this: a date that is generally auspicious might have a specific conflict with something in either the bride's or the groom's personal chart. For example, if a planet that is important for marriage in one person's chart happens to be difficult state on a specific date, even a generally auspicious state can become less ideal for a specific couple. The Kundli Milan process checks 36 specific points of compatibility between two charts. These points are organized into 8 categories called Ashtakut matching. The more points of compatibility found, the more harmonious and foundation of the marriage is considered to be. Alright. Now, beyond the Ashtakut matching, a skilled astrologer also checks the Mangal Dosha status of both charts, the strength of the 7th house and the 7th lord in both charts, the current dasha and the antardasha periods of both individuals, and the specific compatibility of the Navamsha, the D9 soul chart of both partners. So all of this personal chart factors needs to be weighed alongside the general panchang dates I have given you today. So please consult with a knowledgeable Jyotishi to get a complete and personalized analysis for your specific situation. All right. Now I want to address families who yeah, like for whatever reason genuinely cannot make the July window work. Maybe the logistics are impossible, maybe the family members cannot travel in time, maybe there are financial reasons or for whatever reason. So if July is not possible, I want you to know that what comes next. So Chaturmas ends in November 20, 2026 on Devuthana Ekadashi, when Lord Vishnu awakens from cosmic slumber. After this date, the auspicious window for wedding reopens. The traditional wedding season after Chaturmas 2026 begins in late November 2026. Families who cannot make the July window should begin the planning for the late November through December 2026 window. or for the 2027 spring wedding season, which is typically runs from approximately January to June. However, I wanted to be very clear about one thing, that the Jupiter exaltation that is making the July 2026 date so extraordinarily powerful will not be available in late November. Jupiter will be moved on from Cancer by that point, having entered on Leo on October 31. So while the November and December dates after Chaturmas are perfectly valid for Hindu marriages, and they will not carry the specific bonus energy of an exalted Jupiter that the July 1 to July 12 carries. So if it is a possible for your family to make July work, the astrological case for doing so is genuinely strong, and specific combination of circumstances, exalted Jupiter in Cancer, quality of nakshatras, and all the final window before the 4 month pause does not come together like this frequently. You are not going to see this exact alignment again and again approximately after 12 years. Alright. So now let me give you a specific practical checklist for families moving forward with planning for the July window. The first and most urgent step is to immediately lock your venue with only 5 viable wedding dates in a 12-day window. The best venue in every city are going to be fully booked very quickly. So if you have not already secured your venue, this needs to happen today, not this week, today. The second step is to secure your primary vendors, caterers or photographers, videographers, decorators, and musicians who handles wedding ceremonies are going to be under extraordinary demand during this window. So secure this as immediate as possible after locking your venue. The third step is to consult a knowledgeable Jyotishi for Kundli Milan. Bring both the bride's and groom's complete birth details, meaning date, time, and the place of birth, and get a proper compatibility assessment against the specific dates you are considering from the July window. The fourth step is to have your family Pandit confirm the specific Rahu Kal, Yamagandam, and Bhadra timing for your chosen date. The dates I have given you are auspicious overall, but within the each date, there are specific pockets of time to avoid for actual ceremony. The fifth step is to avoid scheduling any major wedding related rituals between July 14 and August 13, even if you are technically using a date before Chaturmas begins. This is the Jupiter combustion window and it weakens the divine witnessing energy even before Chaturmas officially starts. And the sixth step, if your family is forced by unavoidable circumstances to schedule something near the July 12 age when the Jupiter's combustion is approaching, please have your family pandit perform a specific Guru Puja before the ceremony. This is a dedicated prayer for offering to Jupiter, specifically designed to mitigate the weakening of Jupiter's energy and ensure the ceremony still receives as much as possible blessings as much as possible, right? Okay, now let me close with what I genuinely believe is the heart of this entire topic. In the Vedic tradition, marriage is not just a legal and social contract, it is a sanskar, one of the 16 sacred sacraments of the life. It is a commitment made not just between two individuals but between two souls, witnessed by cosmos and initiated at a moment that is specifically chosen to align that new beginning with the harmony of the universe itself. So when you choose a Shubh Muhurat for wedding, you are not being superstitious. You are being intentional. You are acknowledging what timing matters, that beginning matters, that the quality of the moment you choose to start something important will carry its energy into something that follows. Alright. The July 1 to July 12 window of 2026 offers something genuinely rare, an exalted Jupiter providing a celestial safety net. Alright. Nakshatras like Rohini and Uttarashada that carry deep blessings of growth, prosperity, and harmony, a Panchang configuration that genuinely supports the foundation of a lifelong union. Use this window with intention, with preparation, and with reverence. And the marriage that begins within it will start on a foundation that the cosmos itself have placed you. All right. Okay, now if you want to make free Kundli and birth chart, visit the Cosmic Dharma website as always. Link will be in the description down below. And if you want to book a personal consultation with me specifically for Kundli Milan or Muhurat selection or any question about your personal wedding timing, you can simply just drop a message on my Instagram. Link will be in the description. And if this video helped you, please like it, share it with every family you know who is planning a wedding in 2026, and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Until then, plan with urgency, act with intention, and let the cosmos bless your new beginning. Jai Shri Ram.